Don't make a sound. People tell me now. I got to stand my ground. I know I'm not the
Hello and welcome to another episode of Inside the WSL. The entertainment just keeps on coming this season. A title contender was thrashed. Another team ended a 7-match winless run. And there were goals, 22 to be exact, in the third round of Barclays FA Women's Super League action. I think some of these teams might have needed a bruising, controlling central midfielder to really take control of the game. What do you think, Katie Chapman?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm available.
Sign her up. Sign her up. Always brilliant to have the former Fulham, Charlton, Chelsea and Arsenal midfielder with us. How are you, Katie? What's been happening?
Very well, thank you. Busy, actually. Doing lots of little bits and pieces which keep me busy. And obviously children are keeping me very busy.
Always. That's what they do. Now, I mentioned goals. There were lots in the FA Cup quarterfinals too. We'll be discussing that shortly. We'll also be hearing from Chelsea captain Magda Eriksson and look ahead to another round of WSL fixtures this weekend. But first, Katie, let's start with Manchester City because, wow, they were thrashed 5-0 by Arsenal. It's their second loss of the season. We can show you the goals because, you know, after the match, manager Gareth Taylor admitted that they will now have to rely on results of other teams to keep their title hopes alive. He's already saying that, and they're only 3 games in. Well, what do you think of their title hopes?
I think he's probably right. I think within the women's game, it's quite difficult. I think because you don't play as many games as obviously the men's league, if you do lose those couple of games, it makes it really, really difficult. And you do end up dependent on results from other teams. So I think he's probably right. But also, I think him saying it out loud is not the right thing to do because, you know, they've still got a season to play.
Yeah. I think, you know, it's not panic stations yet, probably for Manchester City, but no team has ever lost more than 2 games on their way to winning at the WSL title. Now, many people will look at their injury list. And yes, you know, Katie, that is significant, but the squad is still full of internationals with top-level experience, isn't it? And as you can see, some of those goals that they conceded were just gifts for the Arsenal team. Why do they look so disjointed?
I think because they've got so many injuries, and I think, you know, it disrupts a team. You know, they've got, yes, great squad of players and players that can come on and play. But I think when you don't play consistently as a team all the time and you're putting players together that haven't had a lot of game time, it makes it really, really difficult.
Yeah, it does. Well, City were back to their best in the FA Cup quarter-finals, which recently took place. Let's just have a look at the results because no underdog shocks here, really. Big wins for the holders, City. A new signing and fellow Jamaican, Bunny Shaw with a hat-trick. There are also comprehensive victories too for Chelsea and Arsenal. Brighton overcame Charlton to reach the last 4 for the first time since 1976. Now Chelsea will play City in the semi-finals while Arsenal will take on Brighton, and that's at the end of October.
Lots of goals.
So another big win there, Katie, for your former side, Chelsea. 10 goals in their last 2 games now. They're up against Brighton this weekend, and that is the one and only team who beat them last time around. But when you look at their form, both of them this season, and compare the two, actually, they're not that far apart. Chelsea in 4th, Brighton in 5th. Chelsea have scored more goals, but they've also conceded a lot more, and all of those 4 goals have come from open play, Katie. What do you make of that?
I know that obviously Chelsea are disappointed with goals conceded because I know they pride on, you know, not conceding that many goals. I know there was a lot of disappointment obviously in their first game against Arsenal when they lost. I think you've seen from there bounce back from Chelsea, you know, in the amount of goals they've scored. And I think, you know, they're dangerous. Their forward line is dangerous and they always look like they're going to get a goal. I think you look at the game as well last night, you know, it was a completely different team in the first half. Then they put the big guns on and they all get a goal. So I think they're just going to be really, really difficult to stop.
It really is. The squad depth is phenomenal for Chelsea. How important will it be for Emma Hayes to manage that and manage player expectations? Because I'm sure all the people starting on the bench want to be starting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you look at how much quality she's got within the squad. There's lots, and to keep them happy, I'm guessing, is a real hard task. But she's doing it right. She's a great people's person, and everyone seems happy. I think that's what it is. Everyone seems to be buying into what she wants to do, and it's showing in the performances. Even when players come in and into the game last night, it just shows. They all want to play for Chelsea, and they all want to win.
We can see, the goals that Brighton scored against Chelsea last time in that 2-1 win. Both of them came from set pieces. What I found interesting about this match, Katie, was that Chelsea actually had 30 shots in this game, but couldn't get the win. What have you made of the way Hope Powell has set up Brighton defensively?
Hope Powell is what she's very, very good at. She sets the team up to defend really, really well. I think that she prioritises that first before the attacking part, and I think it's evident in her team, and hence they're not conceding that many goals. But you've also got to score goals the other end, and I think when you play a team like Chelsea, every opportunity you have, you need to create and score a goal because there won't be many chances.
That's very true, particularly against a team like Chelsea. Okay, so Chelsea against Brighton live on Sky Sports from Kings Meadow on Saturday. Our coverage gets underway with Caroline Barker at 11 o'clock. Don't miss that. Now, let's hear it from Chelsea's Miss Dependable. Captain Magda Eriksson has played every single minute in the WSL this season, and she's been speaking to Anton Tolui about what makes her such a brilliant leader.
Magda Eriksson, defender. Come on, Chelsea!
I want to ask you a lot about your role as captain. Obviously, two-time WSL winning captain now. What kind of captain do you see yourself as? Because obviously there are so many different types in the game.
The biggest thing for me is that I'm true to myself and I'm still myself. Like, I've been awarded a role as captain, but we have at least 4 or 5 who are captain in their national teams, who have been captain previously. We have Millie Bright as vice captain, and me and her have a tight relationship. So for me, it's like, I don't want it to be that I'm above anyone else in the team. I want it to be a flat hierarchy. And I think we have so many great people and so many leaders in our squad that I want everyone to step up and be that person. Of course, I will step it up when I feel like it's necessary. I will be the bridge between Emma and the team. Of course, that is my job. But within the team, I want to encourage everyone to step up and really take responsibility.
How much of it is encouraging? How much of it is kind of almost trying to get that little bit extra out of players? And how difficult is that to manage?
I think like being in this squad, it's amazing because it's 20 players who all have such high ambitions. Everyone is kind of close to playing at the senior level in their national teams. And it's like, there's not much for me to add to them. They know what they need to do to be at their best. But of course, I like to focus on the younger girls and helping them as much as I can with my experience. For the ones who are like kind of finished, you can say, I just want them to be able to be themselves and express themselves on the pitch.
You said you're a bridge between Emma and the rest of the players. How close are you to Emma, and what's she like to work as a captain, not just as a player?
I think Emma is a great leader. I think she's very inspiring in the way that she always, every season, she kind of reforms herself. Like, she always takes on new strategies. She always wants to go to different places. She's never just settled with being where she is. She always wants to break new boundaries, reach new heights in some way. So it's extremely inspiring. And for me and Emma, it's important we have a good communication between us, because we have a big squad, and she has a big group of staff to manage as well. So communication is key, and I feel like we have a good communication between us.
Last time you played Brighton, we were all talking about how magnificent the Chelsea's run was. The longest undefeated run in the WSL, and then obviously it came crashing down in a shock defeat. How difficult was that result to take at the time last season?
It was really difficult. It definitely was like a nudge in our confidence as a team. But luckily we had a game against Arsenal 3 days later. So it was like, we cannot think about this too much. All we can do is use it as fuel for the next game. And then we turn it around and we beat Arsenal and then we're back in the flow again. So I think luckily for us, it wasn't a long term of thinking about the negativity, because we turned it around into something positive, and then we kept going from there.
What would it mean to you personally if the season is successful and you are a 3-time title-lifting captain of Chelsea?
Yeah, for me personally, like captain or not captain, it's all about winning. I love to win in every single thing I do. So that would mean the world to me, and it would mean the world to the girls, and being able to do it together with this amazing group of girls and amazing group of staff. That is the ultimate goal, and that is what we're working for every day.
Thanks to Anton Tolui for that chat with Magda Eriksson. Now, of course, Katie, you've played alongside Magda. What have you noticed from her in terms of leadership qualities?
I think obviously playing with her on the pitch, I always knew that she was a leader. You know, she was always very vocal on the pitch. She led by example. She was always a very professional athlete off the pitch as well. Would always get everything done that she needed to get done and made sure she recovered in the right way. So she was actually pretty easy for me to manage. Obviously, as a captain, managing her, she was one of the easy players.
Didn't give you any trouble. What does it take to be a captain? Not everyone has those qualities. What was it about you that made you such a successful leader?
I think you've got to be quite selfless. You know, you've got to go out of the way to help other people and be willing to, you know, drop something to help someone else. I think you've got to lead by example on and off the pitch. I think for me, it took like a while for me to become that captain. You know, I never thought I was quite ready to be that person. You know, I'd always lead by example on the pitch, but off the pitch, not so great. So I learned to be better at that. And I think I grew into being a captain. But I think it is, being selfless and just making sure that you help everyone around you. And sometimes, you know, you're not always liked. People don't like what you've got to say or your opinion, but you learn how to manage people in different ways, and you learn people's personalities.
Magda Eriksson is certainly doing that. Now, thanks for the moment, Katie. After the break, we've got a chat with Manchester United's Lucy Staniforth and Hayley Ladd. And let me tell you, they are absolutely wasted as footballers. Take a look at this.
I can imagine you're quite good at art, to be fair.
I'm being a bit savage here, though.
Oh, God. This looks disturbing.
Oh, you need to write your age on there.
Age 24, you wish.
That is so funny, man.
Welcome back to Inside the WSL. Former England midfielder Katie Chapman still alongside us. Now, let's look ahead to another big fixture in the WSL this weekend. Birmingham taking on Manchester United on Sunday. That's live on Sky Sports. Now, Katie, there's no getting away from the fact that Birmingham have struggled this season. And I suppose no surprises, really, considering all the turmoil they went through last season. They're still looking for their first points of the season. Will they find them against United?
Do you know what? I hope so. I think, you know, the most important thing for them is for them to stay in it, you know, not give up hope and to keep trying, because there's a long way to go in the season. And it's been really difficult for them, you know, in terms of what they've gone through. And having the team still running, you know, is great. But they need to find a way out of it. And hopefully a win might do that for them.
Winless in 17 WSL matches. But actually, as poor as that sounds, it's not the longest in WSL history. We've gone through the record books and had a look at a few others. Everton and Donny Bells have had longer winless runs, but the record is held by Yeovil. Sorry, Yeovil players, if you're watching. 32 matches without a win between April 2017 and October 2018. In the last game against Everton, they did manage to get their first goal of the campaign, if we want to look at positives. So they are moving in the right direction, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And I think they need to, you know, keep going, as I say, keep progressing, keep working hard. And hopefully they can change it somehow, you know, because there is a lot of games left and it might come.
Yeah, it was a good first goal of the campaign, to be fair, as well. How much do you think it will play on their minds, the fact that they, you know, after everything they went through last season, they've got a point to prove. They don't want to be in another relegation battle.
No, of course they don't. And no one wants to be in a relegation battle. But I think, it has been really, really difficult for them, and you can understand that. But I think, they need to keep building, because right now that's all they can do, because the losses and the amount of games they have lost is always going to be there. They need to just work on what happens going forward, and can they try and get results.
Okay, whilst Birmingham's winless run continues, for now at least, West Ham have just ended theirs. A 4-0 win over Leicester in their first WSL victory in 7 games. Brilliant from them, and some really well-taken goals as well, Katie. What did you make of the victory?
I mean, a great victory for West Ham. As I say, no one wants to lose, and I'm sure for them to get that victory will build confidence, going forward into games after that. But obviously they've played, an opponent that's just come into the league, are still trying to find their feet too. So I think it's a great result for West Ham.
Great result. And we spent a bit of time with the West Ham players before the season started, and a lot of them have some really good dance moves. So let's just show you how we imagine that they probably celebrated after getting their first 3 points on the board. Look, Sissoko getting in there. Wait for this, though.
Oh my goodness.
Rainbow Wings by Kate Longhurst. And Katie, I must stress...
They look like they're lacking confidence, that's for sure.
No, they don't. If they brought that confidence onto the pitch, I must stress there that Kate Longhurst brought her own rainbow wings. We did not force her to wear them. So that was...
No. Well, she looked quite comfortable in them, so...
Very comfortable. Almost too comfortable. Oh, brilliant. So West Ham off the mark and up and running. Let's look at the next round of fixtures in the WSL. Match day 4, we've already mentioned Chelsea hosting Brighton. Arsenal travel to third place Aston Villa. Reading still looking for their first points of the season, take on Everton. Manchester City will hope to get their WSL campaign back on track as they host West Ham. Leicester against Tottenham. And Manchester United, of course, go to St Andrews for Birmingham. And yeah, let's discuss Manchester United, actually. So, Katie, they've played Birmingham 3 times before and won every single game. Ella Toone has been key in these fixtures because in all 3 games, she has scored. So what do Birmingham need to do to stop her?
Oh, well, she's a great young talent coming through, and she's difficult to pick up. I think, it's important for them to focus, I think, on themselves first. Not focusing on one player or stopping one player. I think just focusing on defensively getting strong and setting up. But I think as you see here, like goals she scores, most of them I think are outside of the box actually. So she's good at striking the ball from distance. She makes herself busy. She's really good at finding pockets of space. I think when they played, obviously, Chelsea in this game, she struggled a little bit in terms of finding or people linking up with people. It wasn't until Russo came on in this game that she was able to link with someone and she became more prominent in the game. So I think it's important that they find the right person to connect with her too, to get the best out of her.
Yeah, so far so good for Ella Toone. A goal and 3 assists this season. Now, this fixture means it's also a return for the Manchester United boss, Mark Skinner, to his old club, Birmingham. I mean, it's a vastly different Birmingham to the one he left, but he's also a vastly different manager now. What do you make of the job that he's done at United?
Yeah, I think he's come in. He's obviously made, I think it's about 5 new signings to the team, but you can't build a team overnight. It takes time to build a team. I think if you look at Chelsea, it's taken 10 years to get to where they've got right now. So I think, he needs to remain patient with the team that he's got, keep building on what he's got, and, it will eventually get there. I think, they came in when they came into the league. Man United, they came in really strong, all guns blazing, and they had obviously a really good season. But I think with a lot of changes and disruption within the team, it's hard to build. I think he needs to get some consistency in there. Hopefully, now that he's in there, and get him playing in a certain way that he wants them to play, and I'm sure he'll do really, really well.
Now, as promised, let's hear more from Manchester United's Lucy Stanningforth and Hayley Ladd. They've been getting to know each other and practicing their art skills. This is It Takes Two.
Hi, I'm Hayley. And I'm Lucy, and this is It Takes Two. I've been very complimentary as well, so yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I've been well nice. You want my dog and my legs? Well, yeah, it's a bit lethal, but I will take your dog. And also I'll take your calves, because I've not got much going for me. I just said snake hips. Okay, nice. Because they're very useful. Thank you. And that you just really chilled and laid back. More so on the pitch, I think, that I would take that. Yeah. I think I'm quite chilled off the pitch.
A bit stressy.
What have you got? So this is because Stan did a really good photo shoot, and the guy was like, "Yeah, you're really photogenic." I said, "Yeah, you've got really cat-like features." So that's a little claim to fame. Me there. I just said you because of that little boy photo when you were younger. Hayley cut all her hair off when she was younger, and it is like the cutest photo ever.
Embarrassing photo, but at least that.
No, I love that photo. I actually love it. Like, that's why I ask you to get it out all the time. Ready?
Yeah. Yeah. She takes a great penalty, to be fair.
But as I was writing that, I was thinking your curly toe is very, very unpredictable. Hayley's got this really unique technique, and we always call it a curly toe. You were practicing your penalties once, weren't you? I feel like you
skied one that year.
That was good. We never get on them because there's a big queue of people ahead of us.
Yeah. I can imagine you're quite good at art, to be fair.
I'm being a bit savage here, though.
Oh, God. Looks disturbing. Oh,
I do want to make it abstract where there's like a couple of different themes tied in.
It's really disturbing.
Oh, there's my calves.
There's your calves. I tied in a few different themes.
This is your strong jawline and quite squishy.
Yeah.
And that's you with a drink in your hand and your curly toe. That's horrible. You need to write your age on that.
Age 24, you wish.
That is so funny, man.
My goodness, I hope they made up after that. Goodness me. Okay, let's have a look at the WSL table going into match round 4. Arsenal have replaced Brighton at the top. They are just ahead of their North London rivals Spurs on goal difference. And look at their goal difference, ridiculous. Plus 10 at this point of the season. Carla Ward's Aston Villa in 3rd. Superb job she's doing there. And still, though, Birmingham, Reading and Leicester still looking for their first points of the season. Now almost coming to the end of the show, but just time to tell you about the live football we have coming your way. As I've already mentioned, Brighton travel to Chelsea on Saturday. Our coverage gets underway at 11 o'clock on Sky Sports Premier League. In the evening, we have some French Division 1 football for you. Montpellier against FC Fleury. That's on Sky Sports Football. Followed on Sunday by Manchester City, who are hoping to get their WSL campaign back on track, going to St Andrews to face Birmingham. Coverage gets underway at 6:30. And also a special show for you from inside the WSL next Thursday. We'll be talking all about the first WSL Hall of Fame. Join us at 6 o'clock on Sky Sports Premier League. Now, I couldn't let you go, Katie, without asking you. I ask everyone. It's the very first WSL Hall of Fame, but who would you choose to be inducted?
Do you know what? I thought about this and I was like, oh my God, there could be so many people that you could put in there, past players that, have been great pioneers of the game and, won lots of trophies and stuff like that. But I'm actually going to go with Emma Hayes, the manager at Chelsea. I think, for me, she's developed the club to be an absolute professional outfit. She's built a squad of players that are absolutely, amazing squad that she's keeping happy week in, week out. I think, if you look at her trophy cabinet and her success throughout her career has been absolutely phenomenal. So I think for me, she's a pioneer of the game. She's willing to put her head on the block to, progress and raise standards of the women's game, which I think is great.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the stats speak for themselves. 8 major honours whilst Chelsea boss. She's about to take charge of her 150th WSL game, looking for her 99th win. So, I mean, absolutely phenomenal record. Okay, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show, Katie. Good to see you as always. Make sure you come back soon. Okay, so Katie Chapman has made her choice, but what do you think at home? We've asked some of the pundits that work on Sky Sports about who they would induct into the Hall of Fame. Here's what they had to say.
I think Rachel Yankee should go in the WSL Hall of Fame. I think she's the ultimate winner, competitor, role model.
I think for my Hall of Fame, I'd have to say Casey Stoney.
I'd like to see Kelly Smith in the Hall of Fame. I just think she is the best player that's ever played women's football.
I think that Jill Scott should go into the FA WSL Hall of Fame because of her contributions to the women's game on and off the pitch.
I would like Kelly Smith in the WSL Hall of Fame, prolific goal scorer for club and country, a role model and one of the first players to put women's football on the map.
Sky Sports. Feel it all.